Do you ever feel you're not worth anything? So good morning. My name is Shantae Jennings, and I'm here to persuade you guys to all ask questions in class. Because when you don't ask questions, that leads to failing and not doing work, as well as a result to that will be dropping out of high school or whatever grade you may be in. Granted, your parents will let you, but some kids do. So we all know what high school dropout is, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. How many of you guys are high school dropouts? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you guys thought about dropping out of high school? Okay. So 2 are high school dropouts and 1 thought about it. So if you don't mind me asking, what were the reasons why you guys dropped out?
I was going through problems. School just couldn't fit in with what I was going through.
Okay.
I had a daughter. I had a baby. So.
Okay. And then why were you thinking about dropping out of high school?
I didn't have any motivation to go through with it.
No motivation to go through it. So that's a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids today do drop out because they're not motivated. They don't have that push or that drive, right? Some kids don't have that support, right? Which goes along with that push to continue to go on with high school. So according to DoSomething.org, every year over 1.2 million students drop out of high school in the U.S. alone. So that's a really, really huge number. This organization is a global movement where they look at the dropout rates and try to figure out why these kids are dropping out. So they look at the statistics and use numbers to show the difference. The National Education Association looks at the surprising reasons as to why. So you guys shared 1, you had a baby, 1, did not have motivation, and 2, because it was just too much for you, right? So what made it too much? What could you have done differently to make it not too much? What could you have done differently?
Talk to a counselor or something.
Talk to a counselor? What could have made it different for you?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so you had a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my whole purpose is to see or to get you guys to ask questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of times that results in people not becoming successful because you fail to ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
You roll with, that's the norm, right? So you had a baby. Did you fail to ask someone for help with your baby?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So because she didn't ask for help with her child, she had to drop out of school. You weren't motivated. So how could you have become motivated?
I could have told my parents that I didn't have any energy to go through.
Right. He could have talked to his parents. So the biggest thing is communicating. So as you guys can see, communication goes a very, very long way, right? But if you tend to drop out of high school, if you have to drop out of high school, what then will be the end result of that? Will you be able to get a good job? Mm-hmm. No, right? Will people talk about you? Well, some people think, well, who cares? You know, I don't care what people think about me. But then some people do have that mind frame that what other people think about me means a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel that if you guys ask questions in school, it'll help you go a long way with your career. You know, for instance, myself, in school, I failed to ask questions in terms of math. Math was one of my worst subjects. And what I did was, because I was afraid to ask questions, I cheated on one of my math tests. It resulted in me getting caught. So what then happened was I ended up getting suspended from school as well as a fail on my test. So as a result of that, I failed. I could have just asked questions to better help me, to better help the situation, right? That fail, I can't go back on that fail. I could not retake that test. I just straight out failed out. But I could have just asked questions. Now, if you guys are afraid to ask questions, there are ways to go around that. You can write a note to your teacher and explain what it is that you're not understanding. You could tell a friend, I need you to help me with this and that and so forth, right? I'm not understanding this. Can you please help me? You could even go to a counselor. my recommendation is going to someone who you feel comfortable with, because that's what a lot of students do. I'm going to speak with someone that I'm most comfortable with, who I can ask questions to, right? That'll better prepare me. So what else can we do besides that? What if all of those options run out? What else can we do? Can you go online and ask someone online? Can you write a note anonymously to get your question answered? Yes, but the better thing to do would be to what?
Ask the teacher.
Ask questions. Ask your teacher. Ask a friend. Ask a counselor. Another staff member. Ask someone just to ask, right? So it can better help you. When you believe you aren't good at something and keep putting it in your head, it sticks with you as you go on with your daily lives. So, for instance, if I said, I do not like math, and I don't, but I don't go through my daily life saying I'm not good at math, because the end result of that will be what? Me not being good at it, right? The more you drill something into your mind, you actually begin to believe that. So instead of saying I do not think I'm good at this, or I know I'm not good at this, ask questions to become good at it. Right? Do you guys agree? Good. So a March 15, 2013 article published in the American Society for Cell Biology notes that students ask fewer questions and accept facts as the way things just are. So how many of you guys just roll with the way things are, by a show of hands? Where has that gotten you? Say, for instance, myself, I was told I would never amount to anything, right? All the people around me weren't amounting to anything. I was a gang member. All of my friends were gang members. Where am I now? I'm an educator. Where are they? In jail, deceased, or somewhere still gangbanging? No sort of life whatsoever. Children that are in a system. I have 3 children. My children are with me. Never have been in a system. But that happened because I was not afraid to ask questions. So what happened to me in my life that made me change that form of attitude? Because I once was a child who was afraid to ask questions. Well, a traumatic situation occurred with me where I was 12 and my father passed. That was huge for me and took a burden on me. So I became to a point where I did not want to go to school. I wanted to isolate myself from everyone. But I had to think one day and ask that one question. What will help me overcome this barrier so that I can continue on with my life? Once I got the courage to ask that, I was able to go back to school and focus. But I had to ask that one person that was close to me, which was my mother. How can I get over this situation? So at the age of 14, I was able to take a test and go to college. So I went to Harvard College. So at 16, I got an early teaching contract with LAUSD to become a teacher. Could I have gotten that far without asking questions? No. So do you guys understand why it's important to ask questions?
Yeah.
So for you, Sam, your thing was, it was too hard for you, right? What could you have done differently? What type of question could you have asked?
I used to have to leave school a lot, so I could have asked if I could come back after school or Saturday school or something.
Right, so asking to come after school, that's another big one. Ask for help outside of school if you're afraid of doing it in front of other people, right? So again, asking questions can go a long way. I have this book here, which is The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. This book will help you with your daily lives if you're afraid to ask a question. Okay, not only it refers to asking questions, but it refers to your life in general, finding out who you are, finding out your purpose, right? We all have a purpose on this earth, but we can't find our purpose if we never ask to get through our situations to get there, right? I'll leave you guys with a quote. You are here to enable the divine purpose of the universe to unfold. That is how important you are. That quote is by Eckhart Tolle. Take that quote with you think about it. What does it mean? How important are you? Ask your questions to figure that out. Thank you guys for listening.